Welcome back to From the Asylum, here at Wizards Asylum at wizardsnorman.com. I'm here again with Daniel Dusang at Top Deck on Twitter. Follow him. We're waving at you. You can't see us.
Captain Tip Top 2.
However
you want to say it.
Whatever. If you're not following him by now, who gives a crap? You suck.
Yeah, F you, buddy.
So today we've got Grand Prix champion Tyler Lytle versus local and boss-ish Austin Jones. Lytle's on the appropriately named Peddle to the Metal deck, and Austin is on an Esper control-y thing. So, as you can see, they're already on their way.
Tyler starts off with a Farseek. That's about the best thing he can do because it's a 4-color deck, so he needs to fix his mana.
Mm-hmm.
And Austin leads with, what is
right
that?
Into the glare zone. Yeah. He has led with a Blind Obedience.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
We apologize for that. His sleeves are just a little bit curved, and, well, can't account for that yet. So we'll get that stuff worked out in future videos. So
that Rest in Peace is going to help him gain a little life, and it could be, it's starting on turn 2, it's actually a legitimate win condition for this deck.
Yes.
As you counter spells and kill creatures, you can you can drain for a point a turn. Right. Maybe a couple points a turn if you're lucky.
Yeah. And obviously by Rest in Peace, he meant Blind Obedience.
Oh, yeah, Blind Obedience.
Yeah.
So
2
Tyler,
drop white enchantments, whatever.
Tyler played a Nightshade Peddler. It's half of the combo with his Staticaster or any of the other pingers. So any of the creatures that can deal damage to another creature get Death Touch off of the Nightshade Peddler.
Here's one of them.
Yeah, including this Huntmaster of the Fells. So if Austin had a creature, if this Huntmaster of the Fells were to flip, then the 2 damage that it would do to a creature would have Death Touch attached and would be lethal.
Yep. Exactly, and that's the idea of the deck. It's a really nice synergy, effective against all kinds of creatures. And
Austin just warped Physique and missed a Blind Obedience, or missed an Extort trigger.
Yes.
Okay, it's a better win condition when you actually activate every time that it's possible.
Yeah, I think that might actually be the only one he missed.
Okay.
But yeah, obviously it's very important that he hits each of those triggers because he's going to win the long game that way.
Sure.
Get out of range and eventually just control the board. But yeah, missing them is not ideal, but whatever.
Hey, it's Thragtusk. No, it's not.
Nope.
And there's the Extort trigger.
Yes.
All right.
Sweet. He's on top of it.
So yeah, he's got to keep stuff like Thragtusk off the board. This is definitely a 1-for-1 type of control deck.
Right.
It's got a few board wipes to get the 2 3-for-1, but Thragtusk spits in the face of any kind of non-value that Austin would get.
Correct.
So now it's back to Tyler's turn. Still got that Wolf and Peddler cracking in for a couple of turns. Oh, there's a Casted Wolf run.
Yes, it is.
That's going to help quite a bit.
Yep.
So now Tyler basically, he just doesn't have to commit anything else to the board.
Right.
He needs to make Austin answer what he has now.
Right. So he starts with the Think Twice.
Yeah.
See if you can find himself an answer. Yeah. Extort trigger. Good on you. Does he rip an answer? Doesn't appear to rip an answer.
Nope. Takes a bunch of damage.
Yep.
So yeah, now Tyler can build up cards in hand so that Austin can't counter or kill anything except what's on, or he can't counter anything, has to kill what's on the board.
Right.
Like that is an awful Wrath of God right there. It's an awful Supreme Verdict.
Yep.
For a 1-1 and a 2-2. Like that's just bad. But Tyler doesn't have any more gas, so all that stuff that I was saying about being in Tyler's favor, yeah, throw it out the window because he draws very poorly. And this deck, the Peddle to the Metal deck, doesn't have any kind of instant speed answer or instant speed threats.
Correct.
So
that's a Jace Memory Adept that has been resolved, and this is, aside from extorting you a little bit at a time, he also wants to mill you a bit at a time. He also has a Drown Yard. It looks like it's in play actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's got that long game plan in place right now. So
now. Without, I don't know. I think here I would probably still be drawing cards with the Jace.
Yeah.
Instead of milling right away. I don't know. It lets you draw more answers. There you see a couple of new tech cards or a couple of new cards from the new set for Tyler in Turn and Burn and Ral Zarek that he just milled. This deck plays both of those. They can be really, really, really useful. The Turn and Burn is just a powerful removal spell, and the Ral Zarek lets you do sweet things like untap and is it Staticaster to ping some creature for 2, or kill 2 creatures if it has Death Touch. Lots of neat interactions there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a Wolf run for a lot. Yeah, Renounce the Guilds. Oh,
Yeah.
there's a new one from Austin. Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I saw this card at a lot of tables Friday, and
Sure.
it was doing a lot of work. It was killing a lot of Huntmasters for the most part,
Yeah,
but
that'll do.
it also gets rid of the Ralzeric. It gets rid of a bunch of powerful cards.
So if you didn't know what Renounce the Guilds does, it's 1 and a white instant speed. Each player sacrifices a multicolored permanent. And in this case, Austin has none, meaning it's just 2 mana, destroy your creature.
Correct.
Very, very cool. So that Jace is doing work. Luckily, Tyler hasn't drawn a threat that Austin couldn't answer at this point, since he hasn't been drawing cards and getting at least a little bit of value to try to ultimate that Jace.
Right.
A lot of times it's more right to just draw a few cards with Jace, get him to where he can ultimate. Yeah, Tyler scoops it up while Austin's about to draw a gajillion cards.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting thing. Some newer players, or even some players that are kind of experienced, they would keep fighting in that game. They would keep playing after Austin draws, I believe that was going to be 6 cards.
Yeah.
Tyler is experienced enough to realize that when he
gotta
has
have
no
that
cards
card,
in
yeah.
hand
Yeah.
and his opponent draws 6 more than he has,
Don't need to see the rest of the game. Yeah.
there's no possible way that he's winning this game.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind,
Yeah.
because this match might go long. The other two, if Tyler wins game 2, they've got to play a game 3
Yeah.
for the decider.
Yep.
So if you know that you're going to lose, but it's going to take 10 turns to do it, you should just concede and move on to the next game.
Yeah, give yourself a chance to win the games within the time limit.
Yeah, to win the games where your opponent hasn't killed all your creatures and drawn 6 extra cards.
Exactly. Yeah. So we can't really see what he's taking out, but we know that he's taking out obviously his spell removal.
Yeah.
His turn burn's probably immediately out.
Yeah.
And any other kinds of spell removal.
So cards that we did see, like Thragtusk is obviously very good in this match because if you don't counter it, you have to have 2 removal spells for it. Huntmaster is very good as it makes your opponent play in a very different way than normal. They have to cast spells in their turn or they're dealing with a larger threat. And for a control deck like this, you don't necessarily want to have to tap mana on your own turn.
Right.
So Huntmaster is highly effective.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure that Tyler brings in more. I know for sure that we saw Vraska come in. He boards into more of like a planeswalkery kind of deck. Those are really difficult for Austin to deal with, obviously. I think in his deck, the only answers he really has are Renounce the Guilds. He doesn't play Planar Cleansing that I'm aware of.
He doesn't play any Detention Spheres?
I mean, I didn't see them. I'm not sure.
That's about the easiest answer that these Esper decks have for the Planeswalkers.
Yeah, he may just not have ever hit them, but yeah.
So Tyler's got a few other dead cards. Any point removal like Pillar of Flames that he has outside of Turn and Burn is also dead. The Staticasters are probably still very, very dead.
Against Austin, they're really just a target for Wolfrun, right?
Sure.
I mean, that's about it.
Well, since it'd be really good in this color combination, you could have Lingering Souls. But if Austin isn't playing it, then it's still useless. But I think it's a card that you still leave in just in case he has Lingering Souls. But you take the Nightshade Peddlers out because those things are dumb.
Right. Yep.
Those don't do anything at all.
Nope, don't do anything.
So, Tyler's got about a gajillion dead cards in this matchup, and Austin not so much. So sideboarding, unless Tyler has a sideboard completely dedicated to control, he may still have a tough time here in game 2. So let's see if he has that strong opening start with Farseek on the play again. That's exactly where he wants to be. I played against this deck once, and it had trouble with its colors. So they both keep. Tyler leads the right way. He's got that green land on turn 1. Solid. Austin doesn't need to tap anything on turn 1. There's no Thought Scours or anything in the Esper deck. No Farseek. And no real color fixing with another Shockland. This does not look great for Tyler. So he must have kept some number of Huntmasters in his hand, because it seems like the only way that you would keep a hand with no acceleration and no color fixing. Yeah. Oh, there's a Ral. Oh no, you can't play that.
Cast that Ral.
Yeah. Oh boy, is that why he kept the hand for Ralzeric? Whoo! This is not going to turn out well.
Yeah. Well, he didn't play a Soulful
Falls. Oh, okay.
Yeah. He just he punted a bit on that particular turn. He punted the turn. But yeah.
And here you see, do not throw good plays away after bad.
Yes.
As Thragtusk is still the best card that he can play against Austin here.
Right.
Even with a Ralzeric in his hand.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely don't just spend your turn doing what you wanted to do last turn. Do the
exactly.
best thing on the possible turn,
All right, so he gets that beast token, making that warp physique, while a very good card, not quite as effective.
Yep.
As he's got to have something else now. Yep. That beast. Is that beast gonna come across? What do we got? Oh, Thundermaw. That's a very good card against Austin too. Thundermaw is a hasty threat. It does lots of business. Warp physique. Does he have enough cards in hand to kill that Thundermaw Hellkite? Wow, he does. He still has 5 in hand. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. That was a good turn then. So Tyler's got his mana now. He wants to not draw any more lands or Farseeks. Let's see if that happens. Because he got pretty flooded out last game. So
yeah.
Killing that Thundermaw was a big deal.
Yes.
A very big deal. I mean, Austin's got a bajillion removal spells in his deck, but still. If he didn't have one exactly there, if he didn't have exactly 5 cards in hand after that Snapcaster, yeah, he's going to have some trouble. And that Thundermaw shows you that the random use of Blind Obedience.
Yes.
Sometimes your opponent has a bunch of haste creatures.
Yep.
And Blind Obedience will buy you that turn to not take 5 before you can Wrath.
Okay, so Tyler has played Rouse Eric. He's activated his first ability and targeted the Nephalia Drownyard.
Oh, wow.
And his own Sulphur Falls. And in response,
Austin milled him for 3.
Yep, and then played a Renounce the Guild.
Yeah. And Tyler has another Farseek, or has a Farseek finally. Not exactly the turn you want to be drawing Farseek.
Right.
So that was a pretty good turn for Austin. That Renounce the Guilds really shut down Tyler's plan. And I think Tyler might be pretty close to out of gas here. And this looks like it may be Austin's to lose at this point. All he has to do is find some sort of quicker win condition.
Right.
I mean, that Drownyard's online, but that takes a while.
You could play here, like a Wolf Run, or...
Yeah, Wolf Run. Wolf Run's a legitimate win condition. Another Thragtusk could be great here. Huntmaster would still be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Although I imagine at this point Austin probably has some sort of Wrath effect in his hand.
But anyway, he just swings in with the Beast.
Yep. And
we're
here's
about
the
to
Hunt, or another Rouse Eric.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like, I mean, you get up there and take those extra turns. Yeah, it's not the worst. If he doesn't have a Snapcaster or another Renounce the Guilds. So, let's go ahead and rev in response to that ability.
Yep.
Drawing 3 extra cards and gaining 3 life. So here, Austin's drawn 3 and gained 3. Oh, and another Farseek. Ugh.
Well, it's not the worst. I mean, he's getting lands out. I mean, it's marginal, but it is thinning out.
Sure, but what it comes down to is it's just not what you want to draw.
Yeah, he won those earlier, absolutely.
You want to be drawing threats at this point in the 100%. Game and not ramp.
Absolutely.
Here Austin's drawn 3 extra cards, but the board's much better for Tyler.
Yes.
This time, as opposed to last game where Austin drew 6 to Tyler's empty board.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Austin simply must deal with Rouse Eric. He can't allow Tyler to take any number of extra turns and just swing in each time.
Even if all he has is a Beast token.
Yep.
Now I do know that this Peddle to the Metal deck does have Sire of Insanity, so it has 1 card that's a huge trump in the match.
Mm-hmm.
But Tyler simply hasn't drawn it.
Yep.
So this in that case, especially if you take extra turns with a Sire of Insanity on table, they're probably not getting out of it.
Yeah.
That thing comes across for 6 every time it turns sideways. So the Beast token gets in. Tyler's deciding, second main phase exactly what to do with Row. If nothing else, I mean, Row's a couple of lightning bolts at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 6 damage, at least in Tyler's pocket.
Right.
Waiting to finish Austin off. So if he obviously doesn't have Sire of Insanity here, or it would have already been on the table.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he might be trying to play around a counter spell. I don't really know how he would do that. I mean, he can't really.
It doesn't matter. If he has it, he has it. You have to slam the Sire.
Yep.
Because if he doesn't have the counter spell, then you just win.
Uh-huh.
So, Drownyard is tapped. He didn't even activate it. So he's got something else.
Well, he tapped it for mana response.
Sure. But he's not activating it.
He's not activating it, yeah. So he's holding something up. And we can see the top of Tyler's hand. He's probably hoping to resolve a Verasca.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Just runs it on out there.
It doesn't have anything to blow up at this point since Vraska can't target lands,
right.
Which is ridiculous. But it can plus and threaten to win the game on its own.
Yes.
Without anything else. At this point, actually, though, it's really just something to sacrifice to renounce the guilds.
Yeah.
You want to keep that Ral Zarek online as long as possible to try to get those extra turns.
Yeah.
So Austin goes back, draws what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards this time. It's not great for Tyler, but he's got the better board position. Austin can have as many cards as he wants in hand. Tyler's got 2 Planeswalkers and an actual beat stick on table, so he's not looking too bad right now. Yeah, Supreme Verdict, 1 creature. Yeah. This is the kind of thing that Tyler wants, even though Austin's basically just spending cards at this point.
Right.
He still has to discard. He discarded another Supreme Verdict, so he's probably sandbagging 1 more, I would guess. Hopefully a removal spell for that Sire of Insanity. That's what he really has to have.
Yeah.
If Tyler taps out for that Sire, the game's just over. Because there's no way that Austin's drawing an answer to all 3 of these threats.
Oh, no. Not 1 card at a time. Absolutely not.
And Ral gets up to the magic number. Next turn may not be the only one Tyler gets in a row.
Okay, so he taps the mana in response, and
As the
Lytle
Rust
just
Charms.
says to pass into the second main, so he has to spend that mana before it empties, and then he cycles Azorius Storm. Yep,
There's
Sire.
Sire.
He
Yep.
didn't hit the answer, so he's just
And
done with
that's
this
it.
game.
Yep.
Well, Tyler turned that game around pretty well. It was looking pretty heavy in Austin's favor, but as we mentioned, landing that Planeswalker and him not having a good answer to it quickly basically sent Austin digging for answers and just never found one.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a tough road for Esper in any match with Sire of Insanity.
Oh yeah.
Obviously Tyler didn't see it game 1, but if he had, it would have turned that game around.
Absolutely.
I don't care how much you Sphinx's Revelation for. Discard it all.
Yep.
Yeah, you gained some life. That's fine. This demon's gonna go to work on you pretty quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, with 2 Planeswalkers in play, especially one, basically both of them say, if I ultimate, I win the game.
And having no way to whittle them down or do it, no way to interact with them at all, really. It's just,
Planeswalkers basically allow you to cast some spell every turn for free.
Yes.
This is effectively what they're doing, so this is how you generate card advantage off of them. And Sire of Insanity combines with that very, very well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, Sire of Insanity did work at FNM this particular evening.
Sire of Insanity has done work everywhere.
It's true.
SCG, the PTQ last weekend.
It's true.
The card's the real deal.
It is. It is very good. It has led to many angry opponents just having to scoop up their cards and go on to the next game.
Yep, you just can't do anything about it. I mean, there are plenty of answers for it. In some decks, some of the cuter interactions, if you're playing a green-white deck, is holding a handful of Loxodon Smiters and Selesnya Charming it in response to the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure, we can both discard our hands. That's totally fine.
Oh, and by the way,
your creature's gone, and I put 8 power on table.
Yeah.
My turn? Yeah, so there's...
it's not unbeatable. It's just
a
a very good card,
Sure.
and particularly in matchups like if you're playing against Control can't play the game with that many fewer cards than you. It has no hope of winning at that point.
Not even a little bit. Yeah, it hates on everything Control's trying to do, and by that I mean Sphinx's Revelation.
Yep.
It hates on Sphinx's Revelation.
Yep. Real hard.
They printed plenty of Sphinx's Revelation hate in this set, and mostly you get it for just about every color combination too.
Mm-hmm. This one just happens to be on a very large body.
Yeah.
That just must be dealt with immediately.
All right, so what do we got here? Any mulligans? Nope. Okay, starting off. Again, Tyler's hoping for that Farseek start. It's easily the strongest thing you can be doing on turn 2 in a mid-range deck.
Blam.
There it is. There it is. Ramping himself up to 4 mana on turn 3, hopefully. Yep. What's Austin going to do in response with 1 mana? It's not counter.
Well, I think Lytle was trying to figure out which land he wants to get.
Sure. He's got to get red, right?
Yeah.
So I guess, red-black. I was going to say maybe red-blue. He's got plenty of green. But I don't think that he needs 2 blue ever. So
No.
Let's see. And you want to make sure you have enough red because he probably still has Olivia Voldaren in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And Olivia can't ping herself, but she can ping Tyler's other creatures.
Right.
So she can grow as long as Tyler has something else on board. Let's see. What's Tyler got next here? So Austin just passed his turn. Yep, 4 mana threat. There's a Huntmaster. That's very good. Austin wants to dissipate this if he possibly can.
Yeah, get that out of here.
All right, so he can't dissipate it,
But
he can kill it. So
Yep.
Tyler gets the wolf and the 2 life. And this is the kind of thing where you can't really play just a mono removal spell control deck anymore, because the creatures are so powerful when they come into play. The inner play effects are so good.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Your removal spells are not 1-for-1s. Another Huntmaster. And this is that's not very good. That's not what Austin wanted to see. So he's hit his land drop so far, and he has to make sure that he keeps doing that. Here he wants a Supreme Verdict more than anything. Just about. Renounce the Guilds will be okay too. Austin still gets his 2 life and his wolves, but the Huntmasters don't flip. Aren't coming in for 4 with trample.
Right.
Not dealing 2 in the upkeep.
That's a big
Oh boy! Oh, must be nice.
Yep.
Skill game, Mr. Lytle. Skill game.
Lytle on the didn't really shuffle my deck that hard route.
Oh boy, 3 Huntmasters. This is now.
He must have a Supreme Verdict. He must have
main phase Sphinx's Revelation to keep the Huntmaster from flipping, so that he doesn't take additional damage next turn. He also gains a little bit of life to keep him in it. Taking 8 with a wolf run for 3. Ugh. So he takes 11 total this turn, goes to 3. He has to hope. So he's going to 1 with the flip. He has to hope that he drew the Supreme Verdict this turn.
Nope.
No.
Them's 4 lands, guys. Yeah.
And negate.
Don't help.
Negate. I don't like that board in. I mean, you have to stop the Planeswalkers, but I don't like boarding in negate against a deck that's 80% creatures.
I'm pretty sure I saw Lytle reveal his hand and it had a turn and burn in it. I thought for sure he would take that out.
Yeah.
Why would he keep it in there?
Because he can still throw 2 damage at Austin's Dome with it.
Okay.
So it's still somewhat useful sometimes.
Okay.
It's probably more useful. It's definitely more useful than the Nightshade Peddlers. It's probably more useful than the Staticasters. As the Staticasters can't ping to the face.
Okay.
That's what
I
would
also
guess.
noticed that at the end there, Austin revealed a Aetherling in his hand. Do you think Lytle is worried about that card? I don't know. The game will probably last that long, but
if Austin draws
around
a Wrath, if Austin draws a Wrath there, then he's set up to play it the next turn and be fine. Lytle, if that Aetherling resolves, he probably doesn't have much to deal with it. He might be able to Vraska it if he gets lucky, but Austin should be able to blink it when he plays it. So no, I don't think there's a whole lot. Maybe if Tyler's running a couple of Putrefies, maybe. But I don't think he would have been able to deal with that card at all.
Well, in either case, it was a pretty good match, particularly game 2. It looked like it was just out of reach for Tyler. But anyway, Tyler's an excellent player. There's a reason for his success. And Austin, obviously, a very capable player, too. They gave us a very good game. Well, thanks for joining us for this session, and we'll be back with more.
Yeah, thanks,
Take
guys.
care.